It's like things that come back, like the yearly cycles, things that come around every year. The Jewish time is in a spiral, spiraling in deeper into the experience of these energies. So you want to get your Rosh Hashanah machzor and then bring it in. And we're going to be going through it together and preparing. It's an amazing thing.
So, is it like a siddur, or like what is it exactly?
It's like a siddur, but it's a special siddur for Rosh Hashanah, and then there's generally a separate one for Yom Kippur, and a separate one for Sukkot. But the main ones that people use are for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Like that, everybody needs. Rosh Hashanah is, and you want to, the whole day, it's 2 days long, we're in shul. 49 hours and 12 minutes, according to Rabbeinu Tam. You're in shul for a long time. So you want to maximize this time. And totally maximize it. And to unlock the code of these days, that's the machzor.
Why is it a separate book?
Because there are literally technology that we'll only have for this one day. And it's given to us literally this one day. This special technology.
Can I ask you one more question about it?
Please.
In the morning you're supposed to... You're talking about sort of like during prayer, how you have... Spiritual people have the ability to sort of go up and access more real, deeper parts of reality. When you sort of come back, in the same way that in the morning you say Modani, should you also say Modani after like prayer meditation?
A spiritual journey into the universes. You don't say the same Modani, but the process of specifically Tachanun and Kriyas HaTorah, Ashrei, Uvalatzion, these are all encoded to bring your soul back down into the body. Aleinu L'Shabech is designed for that. So an analogy that I use with people is, so imagine you have, remember we explained that going up, you're going up to an awareness of God consciousness, higher and higher unity consciousness of God, higher and higher realms of that consciousness, of unity consciousness, and that's where all the blessing, Shalom Aleichem guys, that's where all the blessing is. And then you have to come back down and bring that blessing and integrate it into the world. So let me give you an analogy. Imagine a person has a safety deposit box. How much is in the safety deposit box? Let's say there's a lot.
$1 trillion.
Trillion?
Well, yeah.
That's crazy.
A bank.
No, a lot more than a gold bar or two. Diamonds. I'm saying like Fort Knox. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Trillion.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
Right? We're talking a lot. So, plus all the diamonds and the jewels and the rubies and all the stuff. So imagine now a person goes into the bank. First he gets out of his house, gets in the car, goes to the bank, goes through the security, and there's people that are asking him questions, like it's not so simple to get to the safety deposit box. You need to sign names, you have your key, yes, you bring the key, we'll turn at the same time, okay, and that takes you into another room, more things, it's like there's more and more rooms to go into, more security, higher level security, more restrictions as you get up there. And let's say finally you get to the safety deposit box and you got the goods. The goods, where are the goods at? Shmon Esrei. Okay? The whole preparation of getting to the safety deposit box is the beginning of davening. By the way, the process of going through Psukkah de Zimra, anybody know what a Zimra is? It's a song, verses of song, but Zomer, Tizmor, Lizmor has also another meaning to that root word. What does Lizmor also mean? Zayin Mem Reish as the root.
First one is song or song?
Songs. S-O-N-G-S. A zomer lizmor is to prune. 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 You have a tree that's got some wild stuff growing out the side or some pests or stuff. You got to prune stuff off. So when a person is going towards something good, there might be energies that are trying to stop a person from getting to the destination. There might be people stopping you, and rightly so. When you're going to the safety deposit box, you need security, you need people questioning you, they don't just let you walk right in. So it's hard to just start with Shemona Esrei. You got to prune away stuff. It could be you're not really accessing because you've been stopped along the way. So not all of you is really there. Parts of you are held back in the journey. But if you properly go through the beginning of davening, that's why the beginning of davening is also the purification and korbanos, and then Psukkah de Zimra, and then you go through the world of Kriyat Shema, and then you get to the safety deposit box. So the saddest thing is when a guy davens Shemona Esrei and he just like walks out of shul after. You know what that's like? He went to the safety deposit box and then just walked out. Like, why didn't you bring anything with you? Oh, like I don't want to be late for breakfast downstairs. I had to get down. What were you thinking? You went to the safety deposit box, you just didn't take out any gold. So what's that? That's called Nefilas Apayim. That's called Tachanun, which by the whole motion is that you're beginning the descent. You're starting to come down from that world. Okay? And then Kriyas HaTorah, you're reading from the Torah, brings it down more. Ashrei brings it down more. Uvaletzion brings it down more. All the parts is bringing the blessing down to this world. So it would be, using our analogy, like taking the gold and then either not walking out with it or walking to the lobby of the bank and then just leaving it on the floor there, getting in your car with nothing, or getting into your car with something and then just leaving it in the car. You know, there's robbers that could come. Or there's you getting it and then bringing it to the safe destination where you want to use it and do things and build things. So that's called finishing davening. That's also why you leave your tefillin on for certain parts through the end of davening. It's a technology. So the machzor of Rosh Hashanah is a technology for one day out of the year, 49 hours and 12 minutes, of a major impact. Major. To help give you the destiny of your entire year. So that's how we're going to be preparing the machzor together. So bring your machzor next week. And we're going to go through it. Yeah.
Where would be a good spot to go buy like an arc-controlled machzor?
A great spot is in Mea Sharim, like Manny's or any of the classic places. Mea Sharim is great. And you could see here in the old city in Mariah. You can ask any of the guys. There's a bookshop just around the corner here, which is great. Also, just it's local. See what they have. Manny's usually has a lot of availability, and it's something that you want your own.
Yeah.
Some people like the smaller size. I like generally larger sizes because I like writing notes and stuff in. It's also easier on my eyes. I like big chunky books. Feeling like you also eat that. I just like feeling it's. This is like my tech. This is it. This is like the book.
Have you seen the Sukkos interlinear machzor?
Oh,
It's a break. It's 2,000 pages.
yeah.
It isn't that big.
Wow. So I like that. I like chunky. Go to look at Itchy Meyer's new siddur that they got him. The thing is like, it looks like with like leather and gold everywhere. It's kedai just to look at it. I knew some people that they saw Itchy Meyer's siddur and it was like a religious experience. Just like they just saw his siddur, and it was like a. When you see his siddur, you'll understand. We're venturing through these days of Elul together. Ani l'doidi v'doidi li. Something very exciting I just want to share with the Olam is that my family's going to be here this Shabbos. So we're looking forward. I don't know if you want to bring your wife. It's very, very nice. We're very, very excited to be here. We love coming to Yeshiva. So let's mamish get Leibedik together. So get ready. always a good thing is prepare things to say on Shabbos. Prepare. You will always feel good when you feel like you have something to contribute at the Shabbos table. It doesn't have to be one of these like, does anybody want to say at Devar Torah? And you're like, I could say something. It says in the Parsha. It doesn't have to be anything like that. But ideally, what it is that you've been thinking about things throughout the week. You've been resonating with things. Because what's the conversation of Shabbos? It's the Parsha. It's Elul, Rosh Hashanah. When you're on that wavelength, you feel like plugged into the energy. And somebody says like a Rashi, and you're like, I know that Rashi. I'm going to talk to that guy about it. I know that Rashi. I was thinking about that Rashi this week that mentioned X, Y, or Z. And you're in it. You feel so good. Most of the time, guys that do that feel less need to like drink a lot of single malt. It's usually the ones that didn't learn much Torah that week that need the experience of the single malt. But those that are learning Torah are like on fire with the Torah.
They drink double malt.
Yeah. You don't need so much of the malt. You just have the Torah. You feel so good with it. Maybe like this much. I'm not exaggerating. You don't need more than this. So prepare Torah. You'll feel good. You'll feel so good when you bring Torah to the table. And sometimes I do like to go over to guys and say, share some Torahs with the Olam. It's always good when you feel like you're so excited with the Torah that you've prepared. You're just like, you're exploding. Like, can I share something? I'm just feeling the vibes. It's great. It's great. It's great. You should be exploding, overflowing with Torahs. Right? To be mashpia. Mashpia means from the word shefa, like you're overflowing. You're just overflowing with blessing. So we're moving our way. It's amazing to think, it's only 3 weeks now till Rosh Hashanah. We're moving our way through the days of Elul. Every day is so impactful, is so meaningful. As we say in Yiddish, nutzois. Just grab a hold of every single second of these days. I want to just make sure we also know historically, how many times did Moshe Rabbeinu go up to Har Sinai?
Twice.
Three times?
Do I hear 2? Do I hear 1? Do I hear 2? Do I hear 3? Do I hear? I hear 3. I hear 2. I hear, what do I hear? Moshe Rabbeinu went up 3 times. Sold. 3 times. What was the first time that Moshe Rabbeinu went up? Famously, correct. He got the first tablets. He went on Shavuos. Shavuos, Kabbalah Satira. Moshe Rabbeinu goes up the mountain. The Jewish people receive the 10 Commandments. 40 days Moshe Rabbeinu is on the mountain. Moshe Rabbeinu comes down, smashes the tablets. When does he come down? Famously, on the 17th of Tammuz. Yud Zayin Tammuz, which was the beginning now of the 3 weeks. The 17th of Tammuz, and that was the day of the golden calf. In a very tragic time, the Jewish people miscalculate, try to make, so to speak, an intermediary or a different type of leadership. Very challenging time. The golden calf. Moshe Rabbeinu goes up again the next day, the 18th of Tammuz, to intercede on behalf of the Jewish people. Moshe Rabbeinu stays there another 40 days. When does he come down? Just putting in the dates. Moshe Rabbeinu comes down the last day of Av, Chav Tes Av, the 29th of Av. He's able to achieve some level of forgiveness, but not complete. He's davening for us. Just like a father would pray for the well-being of his son, Moshe Rabbeinu is praying for his flock, for the Jewish people. He's like the shepherd of the flock. And the shepherd always wants to make sure that the flock is healthy and safe and well and taken care of. Moshe Rabbeinu loves the Jewish people. He's when Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu, I'm willing to start again. I'm willing to start the entire nation of Israel with you. What did Moshe Rabbeinu say?
I want no part of it.
I want no part of this. No, mecheni na mesifrecha. Erase me from the book.
And in that parsha, I don't think Moshe's name is in there at all.
That's right. Well, Hashem pushes the entire Torah until we get to Tzaveh, meaning because he said those words, erase me from the book, the words of the tzaddik come true, and therefore Moshe Rabbeinu's name is erased. There's only one parsha from the time that Moshe Rabbeinu was mentioned. When's he mentioned the first time? Shmois. When's he mentioned the last time? V'zois HaBracha, which is the last parsha. He's mentioned in every single parsha. It's Torah's Moshe. He's the tzaddik. There's only one parsha that he's not mentioned. And Kisisa is when he says erase me, but Hashem doesn't want to erase him. So he pushes off another parsha, pushes it off another week, pushes off another. I can't erase my Moshe. Push another week until Hashem goes around the entire Torah. And what's the parsha before Kisisa? It's Tetzaveh.
Right.
Tetzaveh. Tetzaveh is the one parsha which says Ve'ata Tetzaveh. Takes away Moshe's name. Atah. Which in a very secret way, we talk about this because Tetzaveh is always around Purim time. Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't erased. He became integrated into every single part of existence. It wasn't that he was erased. He became the fabric of the Jewish people. It's no longer just Moshe anymore. We're all sparks of Moshe. He came inside of all of us. It's a very deep idea, which is all Purim stuff, which we'll get to. We're all building our way up to Purim. Then Moshe Rabbeinu goes up again, a third time. When does he go up the third time? Rosh Chodesh Elul. When does he come down? On Yom Kippur. And every single day this month, until Yom Kippur, we blow the shofar. Blowing the shofar, getting it clear every single day, moving closer to Yom Kippur. This is the time of the shofar. We're going to talk more about the shofar. But there's something about the awakening of the shofar. You took a shofar ba'ir, if a shofar is blown in the city, v'ha'am lo yecharadu, will the people not tremble? The shofar is so deep. You blow a shofar, you can't help but wake up. It's an amazing thing. The shofar is very, very powerful. So we're blowing the shofar every single one of these days. We're waking ourselves up. How many people are making your Kabbalahs? Starting to write them out? Very, very good. Because remember, Ani, Kabbalahs are the things that you're taking upon yourself. The Ani. Who's the Ani? The Chazon Ish would say that anytime a fly would come, say, oh, that's a Rosh Hashanah fly. Because he'd be learning the Torah and his chavrus would be like, oh, there's that pesky fly. It's like, it's a Rosh Hashanah fly. What does that mean? Don't you know that was written on last Rosh Hashanah, the fly was going to come? What are you so bothered by it? It was written on Rosh Hashanah. Don't be so concerned with the fly. Get back to the learning. Rosh Hashanah flies, remember, it's all Rosh Hashanah. It's like kedai to get ready. Prepare yourself, right? Oh, that was a Rosh Hashanah fly. The true you, the true Ani is L'doidi. That's why this month we're taking upon more things. The shofar is waking us up. We're getting ourselves ready. Umaltem es orlas levavcha ves levav zarecha. We're circumcising our heart. Hashem gave us this ir miklat, ina liyoda v'samti l'cha mokom. I gave you a place to hide out. I want to just tell you today a famous story that the tzaddikim like to say in the month of Elul, which is about the death of one of the greatest sages in the Jewish people. His name was the Chasam Sofer. The Chasam Sofer lived in the 1700s. Chasam Sofer was a major part of, in many ways, the battle against secularism, against people trying to remove God from the world, which is sadly still going on. And he was a major chaymas eish, a wall of fire, to be able to stand strong and make sure that things were not being removed that shouldn't be. And as the winds of secularism were sweeping through Europe and now the whole world, and many of the values of Torah were being sadly put to the wayside, so maybe now his message is more important than ever. I don't think I ever told you this story, but his death is a very, very powerful moment. One of the most powerful moments that it brought down in maybe any moment in the history of the death of different great people. And I think it's very appropriate for Elul of just getting everything into perspective. There's many tzaddikim in Elul, they would do things like, don't do this. Don't do what I'm about to tell you. But I'm just telling it to you to arouse something, but don't do it. They would, just to get a picture of what Elul, they would dig. They would go to places where there were tzaddikim that were buried, righteous people, sometimes even not where they were buried, and they would just dig. They would dig a hole about 6 feet deep, and for a certain period of the day, they would just lie in the hole. And they knew that, one day, and they would feel the moist and the cold damp and the worms beside them. Don't do this. But hear it. And it would remind them, and this world is not going to go on forever. And the time that I spend in this world, I want to make sure that I use it wisely. And like our dear Rosh Yeshiva said, the fear of Elul should be a fear of not actualizing your greatness in this month. You are destined for greatness. And you should feel like, how can I just waste my time binging on Netflix tonight, or last night, or 2 nights from now? How could I do that? I've got so much potential, got so much greatness to bring out. That should be the fear. So let me tell you the last few minutes of the life of the Chasam Sofer, which is more than a few minutes. And then we get into the last few minutes. So it was the time that the Chasam Sofer, who was in Pressburg, and it was clear that he was coming to the end. And at the end, we have a society, the burial society called the Chevra Kadisha, and they come to when someone is about to pass away, and they help to say what's called vidui, and they help the entire process of the transition, and then the burial, etc. And when they came to the Chasam Sofer, they knew that it was getting very, very close. They saw the Chasam Sofer was sitting, and he was reviewing the entire Torah, every single thing he ever learned his entire life. He was going over every single thought in Torah that he ever had his entire life, ever. And he did many, many reviews of the Torah throughout his life, and he had many things on Rosh Chodesh and on Shabbos and Erev Shabbos and leap years, many, many reviews, and he was now reviewing everything. And he was going through this, even though it was getting clear that his neshama was getting ready to leave, and the Chevra Kadisha came in, getting ready to say the confession, the vidui, the final stages, getting ready for Shema Yisrael. But he told the Chevra Kadisha, please leave. I'm in the middle of reviewing the entire Torah. And so they backed off. And at one point in his learning, he realized that there was one svara, there was one piece of logic that he had said over decades before, one logical point in a Gemara, a very good svara, like a really good logical way of seeing something that he couldn't remember. And he remembered that he knew that his grandson, Rav Menachem Katz, was in the yeshiva with him decades ago. And he made sure he sent a telegram. He said, go get my grandson, because I know that he's going to remember this svar that I said over. And he also hadn't said it over in decades. I know that he'll know it. Send a telegram to him to come to me immediately in Pressburg, because I need him to tell me the svara. So they took the telegram, they sent it to Rabbi Menachem Katz. Rabbi Menachem Katz got the telegram. He didn't realize the severity of the situation. He just knew that my grandfather wants me to tell him the svara, and it seemed to be somewhat important, but he didn't come like right away, but he came. He didn't run, but he came. You know, my grandfather, the Torah sage of the world, wants me to remind him of svara. I'm going to come right away to Pressburg. But it wasn't like right away. He makes his way to Pressburg. When he gets to Pressburg, there's thousands of Jews around the house of the Chasam Sofer. Thousands. That knew that the Yitzias Neshama, that the soul of the holy Chasam Sofer was getting ready to depart. He gets to the house. He says, my grandfather told me to come. They bring him right in. At that point, the Chasam Sofer is in the middle of a process called goisis, which means the body is like shaking, trembling. It's the process of right before the soul is like leaving, the body starts trembling. There's already special halachas at that point of what the status of the person is. He alive? Is he not alive? But he comes, he immediately goes to the Chasam Sofer. He whispers into the ear of the Chasam Sofer, the svara, this logical point that he heard decades ago. The Chasam Sofer immediately says, Kohen, Goises. Menachem Katz is a Kohen. He says, you're a Kohen, you can't be in the building because my soul is about to leave me. You have to depart the building immediately. Tells him to depart the building immediately. Here's the svara, Shema Yisrael, and his soul leaves. And that was the end of the Chasam Sofer's life. And at that point, people described, they saw the oisius Peirachas, they saw the letters just floating into the air, and Moshe Oile. And then Moshe Rabbeinu, so to speak, the soul of the Chasam Sofer, went up to Shemayim. First of all, that's just crazy. But why is that so important? Because in Elul, there's a tshuva that's happening. In Elul, there's a tshuva of what is my life all about? Towards the end of a person's life, we should live until 120 years, all of us. Amen. Until the end, at a certain point, a person, there's a summary of like, what am I? What am I all about? So the Chasam Sofer, who is so clear on life, is reviewing everything, all of Torah. And ad kedei kach that one svara, one point, just one logical argument, one well-said point out of his trillions, beyond trillions, of everything that he knew in Torah, he couldn't go into his mechitza and Gan Eden without that. He needed that. That he made sure to hold off his neshama leaving until his grandson came to just whisper that one svara into his ear. And then, I'm done. Goises, koyin, arois, out. Absolute control, and the importance of Torah. In the bracha of tshuva of Shmona Esrei, my friends, and we'll end with this, we say, Hashivenu Hashem, Hashivenu Avinu, my Father, return us. The bracha of tshuva. Return us to what? L'Torah secha. Return us to Torah. What does it mean to return, Hashem? Return us to you through your Torah. The ikar tshuva of this month is learn Torah. Make Torah your priority. Make Torah your priority in this month. So like we said, in you guys taking on your Kabbalahs, even though this is not the time to become the Chasam Sofer, but what it is what are the things that will take me in the direction of me becoming the perfected person that I know that I could be. We should be Zoicha Mamish to this. Everyone should have a wonderful Shabbos. Should be Zoicha Mamish to Mashiach Tzidkeinu B'mihir V'yaminu. Amen. Amen. Have a wonderful day. Kol Tov, my friends. All the best.
What is Zoicha?